What if the greatest skill you could develop isn't intelligence, strength, or even talent, but the ability to understand yourself and others in the moments that matters most? Every day we experience emotions that shape our decisions, relationships, and reactions. A stressful conversation, a moment of frustration, a misunderstanding that escalates faster than we expected. Often it's not the situation itself that determines the outcome, it's how we respond to it. Emotional intelligence is more than just a concept or a buzzword. It's the ability to recognize what you're feeling, understand why you're feeling it, and choose a response instead of reacting on impulse. It shows up in how we communicate, how we handle conflict, how we lead, and how we care for others around us, even ourselves. But emotional intelligence isn't built in theory, it's built in real conversation, in uncomfortable conversation, in moments of pressure, in choosing awareness over assumption and growth over defensiveness. Today we're exploring emotional intelligence in action, what it looks like beyond definitions, how it transforms everyday interactions, and how small shifts in awareness can create stronger relationships, clearer thinking, and deep self-control. Let's begin. The coffee shop conversation. Several years ago, a young manager named Daniel had just been promoted to lead a small team at work. He was intelligent, efficient, and driven, but struggled with one thing: patience. One morning, during a busy deadline week, one of his employees, Maria, submitted a report filled with mistakes. Daniel felt frustration rise instantly. His first instinct was to call her out in front of the team and fix the problem quickly. He almost did. His hands hovered over the keyboard as he began to type a sharp message in the group chat, but something inside him made him pause. Instead of sending it, he asked Maria if they could talk privately over coffee. When they sat down, Daniel noticed something he hadn't seen before. Maria looked exhausted. Her usual confidence was gone. Rather than starting with criticism, he asked a simple question: "Is everything okay?" Maria hesitated, then explained that her mother had been hospitalized unexpectedly. She had been sleeping only a few hours each night while trying to keep up with work because she didn't want to appear unreliable. In that moment, Daniel realized something important. The problem wasn't carelessness. Maria was overwhelmed. Instead of reprimanding her, he adjusted deadlines, he redistributed tasks temporarily, and checked in on her regularly. Over the next few weeks, Maria's performance improved dramatically. More importantly, the entire team noticed a shift in leadership. Trust grew, communication opened, productivity increased, not because Daniel became stricter, but because he became more aware. Later, Maria told him, "I didn't need a perfect manager that day. I needed someone who saw me as a person." Daniel learned that emotional intelligence is about understanding context before reacting. That single decision, to pause, to ask, to listen, transformed not only one employee's experience, but the culture of an entire team. Because emotional intelligence in action often looks simple: a moment of awareness, a question instead of an assumption, and a response guided by understanding of others. Self-awareness, recognizing your emotional triggers. Have you ever reacted to something and immediately thought, "Why did that affect me so much?" Self-awareness is the starting point of emotional intelligence because before we can manage emotions, we first have to recognize them, and more importantly, understand what activates them. Emotional triggers aren't random. They're emotional responses connected to past experiences, beliefs, unmet needs, or moments where we once felt unsafe, unheard, or undervalued. A simple comment, tone of voice, or situation in the present can awaken emotions that were shaped long before the moment we're currently in. Sometimes the reaction isn't really about what just happened. It's about what the moment represents. A delayed text message might trigger feelings of abandonment. Constructive feedback might feel like personal rejection. Being interrupted might spark frustrations rooted in past experiences of not being heard. Without self-awareness, we assume the emotion is the truth. With self-awareness, we begin to ask better questions. What am I feeling right now? Why does this situation feel familiar? Is my reaction coming from the present moment or past experience? Self-awareness creates space between emotion and identity. Instead of saying I'm angry, we began to recognize I'm experiencing anger. That small shift gives us power. It reminds us that emotions are signals, not commands. When we understand our triggers, we stop living in reaction mode and we start living with intention. We become observers of our emotional patterns rather than prisoners of them. And once we learn to recognize what we feel and why we feel it, the next challenge naturally emerges. What do we do with those emotions in real time, especially when the pressure is high? Emotional regulation under pressure. Knowing your emotional triggers is powerful, but emotional intelligence truly comes to life in moments when emotions are the strongest. Because awareness happens internally, regulation happens in real time. And real life rarely gives us calm environments to process what we feel. Emotional pressure shows up in difficult conversations, workplace stress, family disagreements, unexpected setbacks, or moments when we feel misunderstood or disrespected. In those moments, the brain shifts into protection mode. Your heart rate rises, your thoughts speed up, your body prepares to defend, withdraw, or react. This is not weakness, it's biology. The emotional brain reacts faster than the logical brain. Emotional regulation is the skill of creating enough space for your thinking mind to rejoin the conversation before your reaction takes control. Regulation doesn't mean suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It means learning how to experience emotions without being ruled by it. Emotional intelligent people still feel anger, frustration, disappointment, or anxiety. The difference is they pause long enough to choose a response aligned with their values rather than their impulses. Sometimes regulation looks like taking one intentional breath before responding, asking for a moment instead of escalating a conversation, lowering your tone when tension rises, choosing curiosity instead of defensiveness, walking away temporarily so the relationship isn't damaged permanently. One of the most powerful shifts in understanding this is that you're responsible for your reactions even when you're not responsible for the situation. Pressure reveals emotional habits. Under stress, we often default to learned patterns, shutting down, people pleasing, becoming defensive, or reacting aggressively. Emotional regulation allows us to interrupt the automatic patterns and create new ones. And the goal isn't perfection. You won't regulate every moment flawlessly. Emotional intelligence grows through practice, noticing when you reacted poorly, reflecting without shame, and trying again differently next time. Over time, regulation builds trust, not only with others, but within yourself. You begin to feel confident that no matter what situation arises, you can handle your emotions without losing who you want to be. Because true strength isn't measured by how loudly we react under pressure, it's measured by how we intentionally respond. Boundaries and self-respect. If emotional regulation teaches us how to stay calm under pressure, boundaries teaches us where our emotional energy belongs. Boundaries aren't walls meant to push people away. They're clarity about what you need to remain emotionally healthy. They are the point where self-awareness turns into action. Many of us were never taught that protecting our peace was allowed. We learned to say yes out of guilt, avoided conflict to keep harmony, or overextended ourselves to meet others' expectations. But emotional intelligence reminds us that self-respect is not selfish, it's necessary. Healthy boundaries sound like, I need time to think before responding. I cannot commit to that right now. I am willing to talk, but not if respect is lost. Boundaries aren't punishments, they're communication. They help prevent resentment, create mutual respect, and allow relationships to function in healthier ways. Emotional intelligence in action means understanding that you can be kind and protect your peace at the same time. Because maturity isn't about giving endlessly, it's about giving sustainably. And when you stop abandoning yourself to keep others comfortable, you begin to show up more grounded, authentic, and emotionally free. You cannot control every situation, but you can learn to control your response. As we close today's conversation, remember this. Emotional intelligence isn't something you master overnight. It's something you practice, moment by moment, conversation by conversation, choice by choice. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you name what you're feeling instead of avoiding it, every time you choose a boundary that honors your peace, you're putting emotional intelligence into action. It's not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming emotionally aware enough to live with intention instead of impulse. Because when you understand your emotions, you begin to understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, you gain the power to shape how you move through the world with clarity, empathy, and purpose. But awareness doesn't stop there. The next step is learning how to listen more deeply to your inner voice. In our next episode, Self-Discovery Through Journaling, we'll explore how writing can become a powerful tool for reflection, healing, and personal clarity, helping you uncover patterns, process emotions, and reconnect with who you truly are beneath the noise of everyday life. Until next time, stay curious, stay intentional, and keep following your inner compass. Thank you.